So get yourself set up in a comfortable place where you have lots of room around yourself, and you can swing your arms out to the sides, and let's take a little wide arm and hug yourself, and wide arm and hug yourself the opposite cross, yeah? Now I have my rotator cuff issue is continuing, and if not, maybe even a little less happy than it's been. So I'm taking it much gentler today. But I did see a PT person yesterday, and I saw one on Friday, and I'm getting an MRI next week. So, you know, I'm doing what I can to help solve this issue. But what you will see is my right side, but my left side is not perfectly happy. Let's take the arms wide and make it nice and broad, and expand the wingspan and turn your palms open to the ceiling. And then circle those straight arms off to the sides this way, so little cone shapes. And reverse the cone shapes. And see if you can reach a little straighter, a little longer, a wider span. Good, and then take your hands like you're gonna push walls aside, and push those walls aside and back to the shoulders, and continue this little action, or big action really. Good. And when you get back to your shoulders the next time, turn your elbows high and pump your hands towards the floor as your elbows stay high. Yeah, and try to squeeze those shoulder blades behind you so your elbows stay behind you as well, not out to the sides so much, although that's an interesting feeling. Good. And then turn back up to the sky now and do ceiling push-ups. Good. And then straight on push-ups to me, or to the front if you like, whatever that is. Good. And then I'm gonna kind of go random. We're gonna send the left arm to the left and the right arm to the sky, and do that 3 times. And then back to center, and we'll go the left arm to the sky and the right arm to the right. Good, and then back to the center. Left arm down, right arm up. 3 every time, and then the vice versa there, the left arm high, the right arm down. And when you get high the next time, with the left arm reach, 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 push the right hand down and the left arm higher. And then switch it and take your left arm down and push your right arm high and your left arm down and extend higher. Squeeze those muscles in your back. Good, take your hands back to your center. Now push your left arm forward, pull your right elbow back. So it's a twist like this, yeah? And then switch and pull your left elbow back and your right arm pushes forward. Nice, Bob, good. Switch again, push your left arm forward, right elbow back. Nice, and twist again. Now your eyes are forward, but your chest is turning as much as possible. Go back and forth a couple more times, but we're gonna pause every time we get to the end range, so we really squeeze and push, yeah? So good, Joan, a little bit more time spent pushing and pulling at the same time, like you're pulling a bowstring back, good. The other way, good, Joan, yep. All right, back to hands on the thighs, shrug your shoulders out. Take a breath. And can we swivel so we go figure 80 kind of ways in our shoulders here? And then reverse the figure 8s. And then let that turn you so you look back over the shoulder that is revolving to the back, yeah? So turn your eyes to the shoulder that heads backwards every time. So this isn't just a rotating left and right, but it is also the shoulder kind of swiveling up and down as you go back with whatever shoulder, and then reverse that. So still going back with the shoulder, turning your eyes back with the shoulder that goes back, but you're reversing so that the shoulder is either low when it goes back or it's high when it goes back, yeah? So that kind of shift. And there's nothing, magic about it, just trying to do something a little new. All right, set your hands back on your knees, wag your knees in and out. Take a heavy sigh. If you want, cross your hands the opposite. Every time your knees come together, your hands switch knees. Try to coordinate that so they cross and then they open, and then they cross, the arms do, yeah, and then they open. Cross, and then they open. Good. And then release that, lean back, extend your legs long in front of you, your arms wide behind you. So a full spread eagle opening here. Can you straighten those elbows anymore, Bob? There it is, Bob. Good. Yes, good. Just imagine if you reach 1 more inch longer right now, you might have more access to that reach the rest of your day or the rest of the week or whatever it is. Dial your left arm down, your right arm goes back and high. Reach as long as you can. Right arm as far back behind you as you can. Straighten that elbow if you can, Despo. Straighten that elbow, Despo. Mm-hmm. Good. Switch the sides. Right arm down, straight left elbow, back and high overhead. Reach. Mm-hmm. Pause. Breathe. Reach. Good. Release that left hand down, hands back on the chair, feet back to the floor, and march your knees in front of you. Stay marching here. Letting stand in here. Now lift your left knee, go right, go left, back to center and drop. And then lift your right knee, go left, go right, back to center and drop. Same deal. Lift up like you're crossing a T with your knee and then coming back down. Make a T shape as you lift. You cross one way, cross the other way, back to center and down. Yeah, so follow the shape of a T with your knee. Capital T. Try that a couple more times. Real deliberate about going narrow, wide, back to center and down. Lift, go narrow, go wide, go back to center and down. And then release that. Wag your knees in and out. We're gonna do some backwards bicycling. So it'll look like this. You'll extend your right leg forward, then lift the straight right leg, draw it into your chest, and draw the heel towards your buttock, and then extend low, lift, draw in, and drop. We'll just do 3 on each side. Extend low, lift the straight leg, draw it in, and drop it down. Switch with your left leg. Extend low, lift, draw it into your chest, and drop it down. Bicycling backwards. 3 big circles. Good. Once those 3 are done, that's fine. Wag your knees in and out. Push your way upright. Set both feet out wide and get your ankles going, rocking tiptoes to heels back and forth. Maybe another heavy sigh is in order here. Switch so that you're rocking one heel and the other toe up and down. Pause on both heels and pivot your toes in and out. Pause on both toes, pivot your heels in and out. And then heel toe slow into the center by lifting super high. Those toes, those heels, those toes, those heels, back out to the side. Same deal, trying to squeeze the muscles on the shins and the calves as much as possible. Each lift, toes and heels. Good. End up back at the center all the way. When you get there, put the inner edges of the feet against each other, inner knees against each other, and rock like one unit here, one flipper of your feet. And notice one foot probably leads and the other is following, or you might feel the energy of one foot, or your attention is more in one foot, or there's more mobility in one foot. Can that encourage the other foot to do the same amount of whatever mobility it is? Can you think of it as the more able foot, or more connected, or whatever you want to call it, teaching the other? Yeah. So for me, my right foot is clearly the one that's kind of the mover, and the left is the follower. I'm trying to really hitch the left to the right so that the left may even lead the right. Could you switch? If you feel like one is leading the other, switch so that the non-dominant one or the less likely one that leads. Just mental orientation towards your body. All right, feet together, knees go wagging in and out. And unfold your legs in front of you a few times, just reaching out and stepping back to the floor. Not lifting knees, but just unfolding and stepping back. And then place your feet solid under your knees on the floor, not too tucked behind your knees, but right underneath them or a little forward even of them, yeah? Open your toes out and spread them. And we're gonna do just a little bit of toe work here. So I'll try and get the camera truly on my toes, give you the best image I can of this. So the toes are spreading out wide. You might lift and then you spread out and then you go out and you're grabbing a pen. Imagine even there is a pen on the floor and you're trying to grab that pen. You can see that? Grab the pen and lift it up and drop it. Grab the pen, drop it. Grab the pen. Even if you have a pen around, explore the idea of grabbing a pen and dropping it with one foot. Used to do this when I was in live classes more often. If you've got one foot doing it only, do the other foot. Again, can the foot that's more capable teach the foot that seems less capable? Okay, so this is like or you could think of it as a cat massaging your belly, same action. And maybe let's do that with our hands now. Combine our hands and our feet and do cat massaging belly action, all right? And if you've never had a cat do this, it's real, I feel bad for you, no. It's one of the more pleasurable actions that a cat can do, is just this sort of like, you're sort of the mother cat to this little furry being. And can we alternate so that the toes and the feet kind of, the toes and the fingers kind of alternate between each other? Yeah. Now squeeze everything, your hands into fists and your toes into fists right now, yeah? Make fists out of all, digits. And then open super wide, fingers and toes. And then close again, tight. And then open wide. Good, close tight, toes and fingers. Open wide, fingers and toes. One more time, close super tight and open wide. And then release that, stomp your feet kind of fast. If you can, you might need to have your hands on the chair to help you get a little more stable and a feeling that you're able to launch your feet a little bit and get a spring load of those ankles, yeah? Step your feet solid on the floor. Make sure they're not tucked behind the knees again. And then we'll send our arms wide and up overhead. On an inhale, go there. And then exhale, bring your hands to your heart. I'm just going to tell you this now, yeah? So I'm not demonstrating, but hands to heart. And then go wide to the sides on the inhale, all the way up overhead. Exhale, hands together and down to the heart. Close your eyes. We'll do 3 more. Big spread of the arms out to the sides and up. Inhale. Exhale right down into your heart. There's a metaphor here. We're going to keep going. Yeah, I'm going to describe the metaphor. The metaphor is you're gathering in all your disparate attentions and different threads of thought and everything from the world outside and putting it right down into your heart and letting it melt so that your attention stays in the present. So go 2 more. Inhale wide up to the sky, pulling in all the threads of thought and whatever's happened today, whatever occurrences have come up in mind. How many hundreds of thousands of thoughts have you had? Keep going this way on your own timing and bringing those tendrils, those thoughts, those little rootlets, whatever you want to think of them as, right down into your heart where the meaning and the most important stuff is distilled. And your breath is, as you exhaling, you're sort of letting go of all that distraction in a way. It's not distraction when you're doing it, of course, but it's distraction for the purposes of right now. The purpose here is to bring your attention right down in the center of your body as it is right now without any extraneous distraction or unnecessary thinking or narrative. The next time you get your hands to your heart, rest them there with your eyes closed, breathing still nice and fluidly and big through your nose the whole time. Kind of digesting maybe even all the thoughts and all the things that you've been involved in today, and letting that all settle out, such that your attention can be undivided to your breath. And when you have that undivided attention on breath, you find out things about your mind and how it works, how it wants to do many other things besides just look at the breath and find out what's happening there. So I encourage you to see if you can attend to your breath like you're witnessing a very precious moment in life. This breath right here, this particular one is the most important one. All the ones that have led up to this have also been very important, but this one is built upon those and is the one that we're having, and therefore the most important in the present moment is something to hold as a precious thing. If you watch it with your attention, witness it with your attention, think of like marinating your thoughts in the breath maybe, or there's nothing to do with the breath, just witness it, explore the experience of it, the shape of it, the qualities that it brings in to your body, of life living right here. And if you're not familiar with meditation, certainly most of it is about learning not to think about stuff that's outside the present moment, so that you can distill your thoughts into what is the present moment. Doesn't mean you're not going to think. You're going to keep thinking. Your mind does that. Your brain is there to think. So if you're awake, you're thinking. But it's about choosing thoughts on a particular single subject or thought, or even rather word, mantra is what that would be called, or thoughts on a particular action like the breath that's happening in the present. Practice is to stay in that present thing rather than meander off. But when you meander off, just call it thinking and come back to breath. What's happening, what's doing, what's occurring. Now, all the science is suggesting that meditation of this nature can be very helpful to the nervous system, helpful to your body and your mind and your experience of the world. So that's why I put it in here. Try to put a little taste of it. If you like it, you might want to look into practicing regularly. Even if you don't like it, you might want to look into the science about it to see if it's worth doing for yourself. Yeah. Nevertheless, here we'll chant 3 ohms. Before we do, dedicate your practice to something that matters to you, something that if you think of it, you're like, I'd do an hour and a half of yoga for that, whatever that was, whatever it is. Something you can do hard work in service of. And then we'll chant our 3 ohms to activate body, mind, voice all together. Inhale and om. Release your hands to open your eyes. Step your feet out nice and wide. We'll start with wide legs here. We're gonna start with circles with our arms here. So you got nice wide stance with your feet. You're gonna take your left arm. You're gonna draw circles on the wall that you're looking at or the screen that you're looking at with your arms. So you're gonna take your left arm out wide to the left, and then up to the sky, and then turn to the right and reach over to the right as far as you can. Forward fold any amount, sweep the arm down in front of your knees and off to the left and sit back up and do big circles this way, yeah? Right hand can support you on your knee. You're forward folding a bit to get down towards the floor. You're lifting up and sitting tall when you get up to the high, yeah? You may even lean left a little bit to get out there. Lean right a little bit to get out there. Maybe you can draw bigger circles once you get familiar with how your balance and your support is there, right? Let's take one more full circle. As you get the left arm up straight to the sky, keep it up to the sky, and turn your chest open to the left. So you're rolling your left shoulder back, your right hand's on the inside of the knee, you're sitting tall and extending the left arm straight to the sky as you turn to face the wall on your left. Keep that as you lean down on your right elbow, on your right rib, on your right knee, yeah? Elbow on the knee. So side bending to the right as your left arm is high. Cradle the back of your head with your left hand here. Now some shoulders will not like this so much, and that's okay. You can put your hand on the forehead, you can put your hand on your heart. Those are some perfectly fine options. What we're gonna do is rotate the left elbow towards the right knee, down, and rotate back up towards the sky. This is the goal of rotating your chest, of course. So it's not just the elbow, but rotate down, exhale, rotate open, inhale. Can you make it nice and slow so you track the sensations all the way through the movement so you don't miss out on experiencing and tracking the breath and the sensations and the full path, right? Like that, if we go too fast, we bypass a bunch of nice sensation. And I want you to track that sensation, keep it conscious in a way so that you're aware of what you're activating in your body. Give it one more full cycle. Slow opening, open to the ceiling, slow cycle down to the right knee. And when you open back up towards the ceiling, left arm goes straight up to the sky. Good. Drop your left hand down to your knee, sit back upright. Set your feet back into the center before we go the other way, and circle your chest around in circles a little bit. And go the other way. Again, it's just to sort of reset the spine, so don't push yourself too hard if your low back feels like it's taking on a bunch right now. And then we'll take a forward bend before we go to the other side. So forward fold over your legs. You can have your elbows down or your chest all the way down and hang your head. Maybe sway your head left and right to release your neck, if that feels good. Crown of the head pointed to the floor, eyes looking towards your navel or even under the chair if your head's that low. Inhale to sit up. Step your feet back out wide to the sides, solid feet on the floor. Take your right arm out to the side. Left hand stays on the knee. Lift your right arm up high to the ceiling. Turn, reach your right arm to the left, down towards your left toes, across the floor to your right toes, and out to the right to the side. Inhale up, exhale down. Follow the hand with your eyes. Yeah, so no need to watch me once you have the movement happening. Very nice, Grant. Very nice. Go big. Use your whole torso there, Prakash. Use your whole torso. You're turning your chest. You're folding down. You're reaching out. You're getting as far out to the right, as high to the sky, as far to the left, rotating there. Yeah, there it is, Prakash. Good. And then go slow so you don't bypass any of those nice, juicy sensations. As yogis, we try to go towards the sensation to get a more sense of fullest embodiment, right? Trying to feel ourselves embodied. That is a big part of the movements. A big part of the practice is where your attention is again, yeah? So if it's off doing other things and you're just doing the movement as though that's going to take care of things, you're missing out on some of the potency of how does this feel? How is it to feel alive in this movement, maybe? All right, when you get that right arm up next time, when it's up to the sky and you're sitting tall, turn, rotate your chest to the right so your left hand stays on the inner knee. You're still tall. You're spiraling up into the sky from your sitting bones through the right hand. Spiraling right, so to speak. Good. Stay nice and long and tall and side bend down to the left elbow on the knee. Yeah. Get that left elbow right on the knee, not up on the hip or the thigh. I want a big gap there under your left ribs, right above the left thigh. Take your right hand behind your head, on top of your head, or on your heart, depending on your shoulder. Stay side bent there and rotate towards your left knee with your right elbow and your heart, and then rotate back up towards the sky. Inhale. Keep that left elbow glued to the knee. Exhale down. Inhale, open. Keep going this way. I'm just going to observe a few folks, yeah? So keep going this way. Keep going this way. Do it on your own. Exhale, rotate down. Inhale, rotate open. Very nice. Good. Yep. Jose, if you could have your legs a little wider, that might be helpful. Yep. 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 So you're really rotating away from the right leg. Yes, that's beautiful. Kimberly, good. Nice. Joan, a little bit deeper in the twist if you can. Good. The next time you open that right arm to the sky, straight up, and then drop the right hand to the knee and sit back upright and scoot your knees back to center. Wag your knees in and out. Set your feet solid on the floor. Circle your chest around. Go the other way with the circles. End up leaning out over your legs. This time we're going to lean over the legs and sweep the arms behind us with the palms facing the floor, like you're on a diving block about to dive into the pool, waiting for the relay person to come in and touch the wall. If you haven't raced, that's okay. Maybe watch the Olympics here. Pause here now, reaching back with the arms and forward with the heart. Heart reaching actually across the room. One more moment there. Good, and then rest your chest on the legs, arms hang by your shins, unless your head doesn't want to go below your heart. If that's the case, keep your elbows on your knees and let your head hang. For everybody, can you draw your chin towards your sternum? So draw your chin right into your chest to get the back of the neck as long as it will go, even if there's some tension in your neck or throat. And then relax that tension after that so that your head hangs loosely off the neck and the length in the back of the neck stays as it can. Yeah, so if you tend to be looking at the floor between your feet right here, that means the back neck muscles are still engaged. I'd like to try and relax those back neck muscles as much as possible by letting your head hang more if possible. Inhale to sit up. Lean back against your chair, extend your legs forward now. We'll go for one full line on the chair. Toes pointing, arms back behind you. If you feel capable of putting your palms against each other, do so, and hook your thumbs around each other and dive up over the back of the chair. Depending on the height of your chair back, you might be able to get the upper shoulder or the lower shoulder blades over the chair back, thus having an opportunity to get a back bend. Now, if you have a wooden chair back like mine, it might be a little uncomfortable, so it's nice to have a blanket or something if that's a chair if that's the way you go. All right, release your arms down, set your feet to the floor, your hands on the chair. You're scooting your pelvis forward on the chair as far as it can go. So you're reclining in your chair as we march now, our knees up into our chest. Good. Get your left knee up and pause right there. Left knee as close to your chest as you can. Hug your belly deep into your low back. Push into your right foot hard first to try and get your left knee higher. Yeah. So you're pushing down with the right foot and pulling the left knee higher towards the chest. Now start to slowly unweight your right foot. Even if the right foot stays on the floor, slowly stop pushing. Maybe you're resting the leg. Maybe you're unweighting the foot off the floor and it just hovers off the floor an inch. If that's you, pause there. Or if wherever you reach, whatever bus stop you stop at, stay there for a moment, a little asymmetrical squeeze in the belly. Drop your right foot, drop your left, wag your knees in and out. And then extend your left leg long and sweep it over to the right. Send your left arm back and high and sweep that over to the right. So you're in a full crescent shape here on the left side. Very nice. Drop your left hand, step your left foot to the floor, draw your right knee up and pause there. Yeah. Same deal, of course, on the other side for a moment. Push your left foot down into the floor, trying to draw your right knee into your chest any higher. Keep that. Squeeze your belly. Pause here, knee as high as it can be, and then start to take a little less pressure in the left foot, a little less pressure in the left foot, and possibly the left foot floats off the floor. Maybe it doesn't, without changing the shape of anything else in your body, yeah? Keep that shape, whatever it is. Stay here another moment as your left foot might be hovering or not. Pull the right knee even higher. And then drop and wag your knees in and out and extend your right leg forward. Sweep it across the left foot. Send your right arm back and high and side bend to the left. Lift your ribs even away from your hips. So you're trying to open your belly to the ceiling, so to speak. Good. Release your right arm down. Step your right foot to the floor. Now take your left knee up and hold the front of the knee with your hands and sweep it left and right. Make oval shapes or circle the knee around with your hands. Try and go slower again. And notice not bypassing sensation, but actually taking in sensation. Now there may be some intense sensation at any moment in this class, and some of those intense sensations aren't so pleasant. It's not necessarily about pleasant sensations. Of course, if it's injurious sensation, you want to pay attention to that if it feels like it's injuring you. If it's super hard, that's also part of the game, but you can always back off. Please go the other way with these slow oval circles with the knee. Lots of intense sensations I know are felt out there with shoulders and hips in particular, but all right, draw this knee up close to your chest, circle the toes around, and the other way. Now I'm going to invite you to flex your ankle and supinate, pronate the foot. So your ankle is flexed and you're trying to show the sole of the foot to the people on your right, people on your left, if there are any people, even if there aren't any people. Rotate that flexed ankle. And then point the toes and do a similar, this is pronating, supinating a little bit with the ankle extended, or sweeping those toes, trying to sickle the foot this way and then extend through the big toe this way, yeah? Good. And one more thing, squeeze your toes like we did as a fist and then point the ankle, then open the toes as best you can, then flex the ankle, then squeeze the toes into a fist, point the ankle, open the toes, flex the ankle. 2 more times, squeeze, point, open the toes, flex. Squeeze, point, open the toes, flex. Shake it off, even use your arms to shake tension out of your leg. Good, pull the knee nice and wide to the left, hold it with your left arm, send your right arm wide to the right, open the chest. Let's roll the right wrist around just for good measure. Let's see, I'm trying to think of a different thing to do with some other part than the ankle right now, but I'm not coming up with anything right now, so we'll just switch. Take the knee over to the right, the left arm goes wide. Hold the knee with your right hand, left arm goes wide. Circle the left wrist. Good. Come on back to center. Hold underneath your leg and extend and bend your left leg in front of you. Now we're spending a lot of time reclined right now, so I understand if you need to come out of it because your low back is needing some care or whatever. But it may help just pushing your right foot harder into the floor. So you're stabilizing by pushing the foot into the floor and creating stability in the pelvis and the low back. So that could help your low back stay stable if you're pushing harder into the right foot. All right, we're going to can the leg to the left, or right rather, sorry, bend the knee and then kick it to the left, and then bend the knee and sweep it and kick it to the right. And bend the knee and sweep it and kick it to the left. Bend the knee. Let's go sweeping and kicking to the right and pause. If you feel stable here, your right hand could go down the leg. Both hands could go down the leg. You might hold the outside of the leg with the right hand or the underside. Left arm might go wide, which feels more suitable for you. It's totally fine, whatever you choose. Open up the chest, reach the arm out, left right, left leg going to the right. Good. Bend the knee. Let's go out to the left with the leg. Hold it with your left arm and extend, or both arms. Turn the toes and the knee externally as best you can. Send the right arm out. Maybe you walk the left arm down the inside or the outside of the leg again, yeah? Try straightening the knee as much as you can, wherever you're holding it. Maybe you have to drop the leg a little. Maybe you don't. Straighten and pull left any further. Awesome. Drop the left leg to the floor, wag your knees in and out. And let's sit up and do a full hamstring stretch on the left leg, yeah? So sitting up, extend that left leg in front of you, toes pulling back. Let me get the best view here. Nice tall spine. Slow fold towards the left leg. Actually, let's do 3 entrances to this. Inhale, slow lift away from the left leg. Notice how the hamstrings start to get their stretch and what the sensation is as you slowly enter the hamstring stretch, folding slow, exhaling down, and unfolding slow, inhaling, relieving yourself of that hamstring stretch for a moment. And then last time, slow folding, exhale down. Go to the limit that feels safe enough but challenging and pause and breathe. Same long breaths. Same steady attention. Your breath will also help carry your attention right into the moment that you're in. So keep the breath super steady and long. Breathing through your nose always helps to warm the air and filter it. Also, notice if you only breathe up into your upper chest, try to breathe also into your belly a little bit. Fill your belly every time you inhale. Collapse your belly every time you exhale. Doesn't have to be complete, but just a little bit so your belly is part of the breath. And finally, last couple breaths here, let your head hang completely off the spine. So you're in that forward bend at the pelvis. That stays the same, but your head just drops and your chin may drop into your sternum. Don't look at me. Let your head hang towards the floor. See if that changes the experience of the stretch along the back body or outside of the hip or somewhere else. It could be many places, just changing the position of your head. On your next inhale, sit up, unfurl, step your left foot to the floor, wag your knees in and out. Let's set our feet solid on the floor and we'll do a couple twists before we go to the second side. So twist your chest left and right, slide your hands along your legs. Good. Turn back to face forward, lean against the back of your chair. Draw your right knee up, clasp your leg with your hands. Pause here, holding the knee. Start to circle your ankle. I'll get back up into this shape here. So you're holding your right knee, you're circling your ankle for a moment, circle the other way. And then we'll be much more deliberate about it. So we're just going to do this deliberate stuff. Flex your ankle back so you're pulling your toes towards your face, and then rotate the foot left and right as you flex the ankle. So you're turning the sole of the foot without moving the knee. Yeah, try not to move the knee or the shin. Getting full ankle movement, whatever that is for your ankle today, yeah? Point your toes, do the same, sweeping, like it might look like a little smiley face you're trying to draw with your big toe to the left and to the right without moving the knee. Notice if your knee's moving, yeah? As much as you can, little smiley face with a toe. Good, good, good. And then circle it out, do any full circles there. Oh, and then squeeze the toes, point the foot, open the toes, flex the foot. Squeeze the toes, point the foot, open the toes, flex the ankle. Squeeze, point, open, flex. Squeeze, point, open, flex. A couple more. If your shin and calf are getting burning, that's good. That's good. We're working those muscles. Squeeze, point, open, flex. Last one, squeeze, point, open, and flex. Now shake off whatever tension and burn you got going on that shin and ankle, yeah? Your arms might be getting a little exercise this way, yeah? Now start to circle that right knee around in oval shapes. Stay reclined. Keep your breath fluid, big. Check in. Are you bypassing any sensations you could be aware of as you go here? Nice and wide, nice and narrow. Go the other way with the wide and narrow. Full oval shapes out to the sides. Jose, maybe move a little bit wider to the sides with that knee if possible. Way out, way narrow, way out, way narrow. Good. Draw your leg up towards your chest, clasp your hands behind your leg, extend and bend your leg. Actually, I don't know if we did this last time. We did something like this. All right, we'll do the can-can in a second. I'm gonna switch gears here. Pull your right knee nice and wide, send your left arm nice and wide, open up the chest. We'll do this hip opening for a moment. It may help to push your knee against your right hand to activate that right hip a little more. That may feel a little bit challenging, but that's okay. Good, circle your left wrist again, yeah? Good, circle the other way. See if you can get bigger there. So Despo, I'm looking at your wrist. Can it go bigger and slower? Very nice. Grab the knee, pull it across your chest, over to the left. Take your right arm wide, pull that knee across towards your left shoulder. Circle your right wrist. Again, fingers extended. Try not to let just the knuckles do their work. Yeah, get the whole wrist if you can. I know it's not easy. I know it may help for you to look at your hand and see if you can get more movement out of it from signaling it with your eyes, right? All right, come back to center. Clasp your hands under the leg now, sorry. And then we'll extend and bend a couple times. And then we're gonna do a can-can. So bend the knee, sweep it over to the left, kick it across. Bend the knee, sweep it over to the right, kick it out. Good, bend the knee, sweep left, kick. Bend the knee, sweep right, kick. Yes, good. Jose, again, see if you can go a little wider, a little narrower. Kick narrow and hold. Now, the next time you kick narrow, we'll pause there, yeah? Walk your hands up the leg. Left hand might be on the inside or the outside or the underside of the right leg. Left arm or right arm might go wide. Pause there. Heart lifted, open chest. Reaching through the heel, pulling the hip back. Good, bend the knee. Let's go out wide to the right, kick it out to the right. Hold that, right leg, right hand on the leg, left arm out wide, or both hands on the leg is totally fine. But those of you who have a pretty straight leg and it's out wide, see if you can pull it wider, wider, wider. Maybe it can go almost perpendicular to your pelvis, yeah? Okay, good. Step that right foot back onto the floor, wag your knees in and out. Take a moment, that was great, Kimberly. Sit up. Now, there's a lot of naturally flexible bodies, and then there's a lot of naturally inflexible bodies. That's okay, either way it is, yeah? Sometimes it's harder to get the flexible people to work their strengths, as it's harder to get the strong, we call it integrated bodies, or less flexible bodies to work their flexibility. So we have to work from both ends, yeah? So hopefully what we're doing here is both ends. Let's extend the right leg out, get a straight on hamstring stretch, the toes pull back, the spine gets tall. We'll do 3 slow folds first. Exhale down, slow. Notice when your hamstrings start to get their stretch, and then inhale, unfold back upright as the hamstrings start to let go of their stretch. realign everything. Straight right leg, straight long spine, and fold. Or it's not going to be straight, but long spine, fold. That's an exhale. The inhale, coming back up, unfolding. And here, exhale and fold and pause when you feel like you're getting the stretch that is as potent as you want right now. Stay in the shape. Keep the left foot pushing down a little. Even as you're extending the right leg, your left foot can help support you, support the stretch by being a stable foundation for your stretch in your right leg. Keep breathing long. Maybe after you feel like you've been in the pose for a few long breaths, then add neck flexion by dropping your chin, or neck flexion as your chin goes into your sternum. So the back of the neck gets longer, and this curling of the chin into the sternum can add some possible stretch some places. It may not change much for you, it may. I'm playing with the connections there, the fascial connections. So there is considered one fascial sheet, fascia being the connective tissue in the body, and it's innervated, it's got sensation to it. It's often what's considered what we are stretching when we're doing stretches. So we're stretching the fascial body right now, really, mostly in the hamstrings, but also you are stretching possibly the fascial sheet that goes from the right heel all the way up the back of the leg, over your right buttock, up your back, and over the back of the head to your forehead. It's considered one fascial line that we're stretching the back body. On your inhale, sit up. Step the right foot back on the floor. Wag your knees in and out. Did I miss any vital poses from the sequence on the other side? I don't think so. Let's go wide and narrow with the knees. Let's see. I just want to make sure I get all the requests in. We did twists. We've been doing twists. We've been doing some hip release. We're going to do a little more hip release here in a second. We'll do some balance and posture. That's right, some posture stuff. So let's actually work the spine because we haven't done a lot of spinal arching and rounding. So we'll do cat-cow for a moment to get the spinal connections in mind. Arch and round your spine. Pelvis tilts back as you drop your chin to your sternum. Pelvis tilts forward as you lift your heart and your eyes. Continue this way. Pelvis back, chin down. Pelvis forward, heart lifts, eyes up. Continue. Can your breath also follow this pattern? Inhaling to open, lifting your eyes and chest. Exhaling to round, receding your heart back and your pelvis back. Close your eyes. Do two more super slow on your own. Your inhale, opening your front body. Your exhale, closing your front body. And when you get open to the arched back, the heart lifting, the cow pose, the seated cow pose, stay in that and pull your elbows back. So you're thrusting your heart forward, your elbows are pushing back, and level your head now across the room. So your chin is level on a shelf. You're not lifting your chin to lift your heart. Good. Squeeze those shoulder blades together in the back. Now, wherever your elbows are, can you extend your arms behind you? Heart lifting. Feet are on the floor. Good. Swing your right arm diagonally up to the left and look up at it, twisting. Reach higher. Can you reach higher from your right hip to your right fingers, twisting up? Awesome. Release the right arm down past your hip, the same place it was, and then swing your left arm up high to the right, twisting. Big twist and reach. Good. Release that one more time. Take your right arm high to the left, twisting and reaching. Pause now just to get more extension. Can you get 1 more millimeter high? Good. Release. Switch. Twist your left arm high to the sky on the right. Look up at it. Turn your chest any more. Awesome. Release that left arm down. Shrug your shoulders out. Let's roll our mid ribs around in circles now. Try to get the mid ribs more the focus rather than your pelvis. And go the other way. And then sit up nice and tall and relax your shoulders away from your ears. Now, we're going to practice neck alignment in particular, just because it's so common for the collapse to happen this way. And we're going to reduce that as best we can. So one of the ideas here is that that the low back and the back of the neck mirror each other. So if the low back goes into a rounding, the head goes into a rounding, or the neck also collapses. And so if we can get that low back to lift, can you lift your low back towards your heart a little bit? Can you tilt your pelvis a slight amount forward so you're arching your low back even? Maybe not overdoing it. Again, the difference between flexy, bendy people and tighter people is probably right here, because the hamstrings are tight. Oftentimes, that means it pulls the sitting bones towards the back of the knees, and that forces the pelvis to be in this posterior tilt. So if you have relatively flexible hamstrings, it's not too challenging to get your arch and your low back in the seat. Even in the seat though, your knees are already bent, so your hamstrings aren't really pulling on your low back too much. So you should be getting pretty possible here to arch your, depending on your spinal issues. Of course, there's plenty of things out there. Nevertheless, low back lifting to the heart. But when you do that, tendency is also to lift the chin. So try to drop your chin and lift the base of your skull up. And I'm going to give you a little cue here of drawing your earlobes back. So you're trying to keep your collarbones where they are, and you're drawing your earlobes back behind the collarbones. So the collarbones are there, draw earlobes back, and then lift your earlobes through your tops of your ears. We call it elf ears sometimes. Some people have called it this in yoga classes. So think of lifting your elf ears, because your ears are what's in line with your neck spine, not your chin and your nose. So if you're lifting your chin and your nose, you're actually compressing and collapsing the back of the neck. What we'd like is lifting the base of the skull and the ears. So both those things help elongate the back of the neck and align you for the best possible posture you might be able to have right now. Yeah, low back is lifting again, and I'm trying to demonstrate it, but your eyes are forward, so you can see it relatively, yeah? Good. Let's see, Bob, can you sit your heart up a little bit more? Shoulders a little back. There you go, good. Chin level down. And then with your chin level down, just bobble your head like a bobblehead. Baseball coming up, season coming up, so there's bobbleheads out there that you can think of. You bobble your head left and right without collapsing forward to go there, yeah? A nice tall lift, like the crown of your head's reaching up for the sky. So another image for this postural practice would be like you have a hook, like a Christmas ornament on the crown of your head, and you're actually hanging away from the Christmas tree. Your shoulders relax, but the crown of the head is staying put because it's hooked on the ceiling or on the branch. So there's two directions to go. There's a reaching sensation, but there's also a relaxing sensation around the central column of the spine, which is lifting away from gravity in obvious ways, yeah? So there's sort of many ways we can try and sort of cultivate a good posture that's not straining so much to be upright, okay? All right, all of that. Let's tilt our head a little bit more slowly left and right to release the sides of the neck. And I'm just doing this for a final little practice of the postural. And as you tilt to the right, drop, pause there. So your right earlobe is dropping towards your right collarbone. You're still upright though. It's not a collapse. Your eyes aren't looking at the floor. You're still looking straight ahead. It's almost like you're trying to lengthen the left neck by lifting the left earlobe off the shoulder, and that just causes the right earlobe to fall. Gently lift your head back upright, and we'll just do the second side. Just this now today. We're not going to do the arm out to the side or the other things. Just try to lengthen your right earlobe off the right collarbone, your eyes staying forward. There's super subtle things about collapsing the chin forward or drawing the base of the skull up. So think about this length that I invited before, that we all tried to get into our bodies, that I invited you to try getting the base of the skull up as your head's tilted to the left. One more moment. Eyes are forward if possible. Good. Lift your head back up. Turn your head left and right like a no, saying no. And finally say yes. Chin up and down. And then circle from no to yes to no to yes. Or your nose is circling in front of you, circle the other way. All right. And then release that. Let's see. We got to stand up so we can practice some balance stuff as well. And it'll be some hip stuff when we stand. Okay, so step your feet behind your knees and stand up when you're ready. I'm not going to walk us through the squat to stand stuff today, but someday maybe I will soon. And once you're standing, set your hands back on your chair when you're standing back there. We got to get our feet underneath our bodies first, so we're going to practice little tiptoes and dropping down. So I just got to get that camera level. Okay, so up, down on your tiptoes. And actually, we'll go a little bit more deliberate here. Go up on your tiptoes fast, and then I'm going to drop us slow. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the heels touch down. And then we'll launch to tiptoes, and then count 5, 4 to drop our way down. 3, 2, 1. So it's a fast launch up to tiptoes, and then a slow drop, heels down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more of those. Launch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to get the heels down. Launch, and then slow drop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once your heels are on the floor, bend your knees, sit your hips back, and see if you can get a little more weight into your heels. Once your weight's in your heels, your hips are back, try to hug your muscles under your bones of your thighs, your hamstrings. See if you could activate your hamstrings on the backs of the knees. Imagine you're hugging the hamstrings up into the backs of the knees. Is there any way to get more action on the backs of the legs in this little squat? And then start marching a little bit slow left to right, and maybe even lifting a foot as you go, shifting your weight, staying in the squat. Check in. I don't want that squat to start to straighten out in the knees, but stay forward in the hips. That's going to be tough on the low back. So if you start straightening the knees, I want you to be more upright in the spine as well. But if you can squat as the hips down and the chest is still upright, that's the goal here. A little squat, working those thighs. Yeah. We're going to pause on the right foot right now. Lifting the left foot, pause. Your hands could be on the chair. If you want to practice hands on hips, that's a possibility for some. Not to fall, please. All right, step the left foot down. You could grab the chair or not and lift your right. Same thing on the other side. Now, one side might be much more capable of the balance than the other. Ideally, we could learn what that is, why that is, and how to teach the side that's not so capable, yeah? Switch sides again. Stand on the right foot, left foot is lifted. Pause there. Switch sides again. Left foot down, right foot up. We're still in a squatting leg here, yeah? Good. Step the right foot down, stand up, and here squeeze your heels towards your buttocks. So we're a little bit more standing up tall. And then we're gonna do a little hip shift here. So leave your feet on the floor. I'm just gonna focus on my legs a little more and my hips. So feet on the floor, shift your hips left and right, like as though you're walking in place, but my feet are stuck on the floor. I'm just bending one knee and the other. It's a little pantomiming walking, right? So this does shift your hips left and right, and that's part of the goal here, is to find out how those hips shift left and right when you're walking. Now, this isn't when you're walking, this is when you're doing this, right? So many of you are not going to be walking this way, and that's exactly right. In fact, I want to emphasize this right now so that we can actually minimize it now, yeah? So now try walking without your hips shifting, but you're still bending your knees a little bit. So there's a little shift of the weight. Let's see. Can we shift the weight left and right without letting the hips do their shifting? So it's truly putting the weight over one foot as the knee bends and over the other foot as the knee bends. And it's almost all one big unit. And when we get to the right foot the next time, can we float the left heel up and possibly float the left toes off the floor? Now, this is a more standing, non-squatting, and it means that we're up higher off the ground and our center of gravity is higher, which makes it harder to balance, yeah? So we're standing on a relatively straight-ish right foot as the left foot is stepped off the floor. Good. Switch your left foot to the floor. Push down even through the left heel to unweight your right foot and pause there. Yeah. Okay, now step your right foot to the floor. Come back to stand on the right foot. Unweight your left foot. Now I'd like everyone to grab the chair just to be super stable. And we're going to shift our hips up and down as though we're doing that sachet walking, but we're working the hips in particular. I'm trying to kick my right hip out to the right and then lift the left hip up high to the left. Right hip out, left hip up. Right hip out, left hip up. Over and over again, standing on that right leg alone, if possible. Okay, this should be working that outer right hip quite a bit. It also might work the left waist as you're trying to lift and lower the left hip. Now, all right, step to the left foot, straighten, relatively straight knee, not locked out, but relatively straight. Lift the right foot off the floor, and then kick those hips left and right as best you can. Now the right foot is free from the floor, and you're getting, the goal here is to get familiar with the muscles that move our hips around and stabilize our hips. And if we can get familiar with those muscles, then we might be able to practice our balance with a little more engagement and clarity about how those muscles will help or take away from our balance, right? And we get strength here, we get some flexibility here, and that'll also help. Okay, step that right foot down. Shake off whatever you just had going on. You can step your feet a little wider and shift it out. Do anything else that feels good. And then we're going to practice a balance here. Okay, so stand tall, lift your left knee high out to the left. Now we did this on Thursday, I'm pretty sure. A little practice of actually activating this left hip socket here. Try and lift your left knee higher without changing your upper body at all. Try and lift it any higher without changing your upper body at all. Can we go 1 more millimeter high? Awesome. Now tuck the left foot right inside the right leg and don't put it on the inner right leg. Hover it off the inner right leg, but squeeze the heel up into the groins here. This is super engagement of the left hip, left thigh, maybe engaged a bit, but the hamstrings are super engaged for sure. Heel trying to pull up underneath you like you're squeezing it into your groins, and then stand tall and bring your right hip in and pull your right hip up off your thigh bone and lift your heart up. And we're practicing tree pose. Now, if you feel stable enough, you can take your hands off the tree, one hand, or a chair rather, one or both. Keep your eyes glued to the forward, not looking at me anymore. We're practicing tree now for 3 breaths, please. Unbraced tree pose, I should say. Good. Step the left foot to the floor. Now grab your chair again. We're going to take the right leg, and before we go to the second side, we're going to take the right foot and sweep it behind the left and over to the left and do a little curtsy squat here. And this should stretch out the outer right hip a little bit and the outer left hip even. You might turn to your left with your chest, and your left hand can sort of show off your right foot. A little twisting, squatting, lunging deal here. Good. Hands back to the chair, come upright, step your right foot back to the floor. Shift your hips out or march it out as you like. Familiarize yourself with your hips and where they go. And then we're going to do the second side, okay? Yeah? So second side being hands on the chair, maybe left hand is enough on the chair, right hand on the hip is fine. Right knee goes high first, just pause there. Try not to lean left to get your right knee up. Then lift your right knee any higher. Try not to lean anywhere with your chest. Maybe you lift a little higher. I'm looking to really work this right hip flexor a bit. One more time, maybe higher and pause. Push through the left foot harder to get that right knee any higher. Awesome. Step your right foot, or rather, scoot your right foot just to the inside of the left leg, but not on the leg. And then draw the heel up underneath your buttocks, trying to bring the heel up into your groins. Your knee is wide, your hamstrings are turned on, your outer hip is turned on probably. Lots of things going on. Stand taller through the left leg. Can you lift your heart up away from your left leg, push through the left heel? Maybe you find your balance here, hovering the right foot in tree pose. Hands might be at the heart, or one at the heart is fine, or whatever you got. Do not threaten your safety, but play with your boundaries of balance. We want to see what we can learn and activate these muscles at the same time. If you're holding your breath, maybe breathe a little more fluidly. We're going to stay here 1 more breath, or let's go 2 breaths. This is not easy. My legs are burning right now. All right, step it down, shake it off, shift your hips around. Let's do a forward bend with wide legs. Walk your feet out nice and wide, turn your feet parallel, soften your knees, and send your hips back with soft knees until you're in a forward bend. You could have half forward bend with your hands on the chair or full forward bend, hands towards the floor. Wherever you get to, maybe hang your head if that's okay. Feels okay for your balance. Make sure you're breathing, of course. Keep feeding oxygen into your body. Keep feeding attention through that breath into your body. On your next inhale, soften your knees first, lift your eyes, and inhale to come up. Scoot your feet back into the center. Oh, I forgot to stretch this way. We're going to step the left leg back behind the right and do a little curtsy that we did on the other side. So left leg is behind the right. Bend both knees. Turn towards your left foot rather, but you're turning right. Your right hand towards your left foot. Just to sort of complete the twist is the idea there. And then come out of it and stand up. Good. So that was hips and balance at the same time. Now, consider our posture here. I just want to think of a standing posture. So we'll do what's called mountain pose, which is simply feet are planted under the hips. And I haven't talked about this a lot in recent classes, but I think it's useful to consider. There's sort of a system that's that I learned in when I did my second yoga teacher training. I took two different yoga teacher trainings. The second one was in a style called Anusara yoga, and this guy invented this whole system of loops and spirals in the body. And so it's ways to sort of solidify and connect to the muscles in the body. And so these loops, we're going to talk about the loops. The loops are essentially, there's many loops going up the body. Certain loops are like pretty much with all the primary sections. So we're going to start with the feet. There's the first loop is actually the tops of the ankles are trying to go back a little bit, and the tops of the shins are going forward slightly, but the shins aren't going to be way forward. You're just getting a sense that there's a loop there. As your heels are pulling back into the wall behind you, your knees are actually drawn forward towards the wall in front of you, but you're not doing much more than a subtle bend there in the knees. The second loop is almost the opposite. The hips are going slightly back, so the tops of the thighs go back, and the bottoms of the thighs go forward. So it's connected to the knees there. Now, if you can, hug your muscles, thighs to bone, hamstrings to bones, as I've talked about before, calves to bones, shins to bones. So we're activating these loops, and maybe loops isn't necessarily making sense to many people. I understand that. We're not moving. This is all isometric energy. You're trying to make tree trunks out of your legs. So the idea here is hugging muscles. Your feet are hip width and parallel. They're spread out wide. Imagine you are trying to hold the earth together with the soles of your feet right now. You're hugging the midline with the inseams of the legs. Again, we're not moving, we're just activating. Yeah. See if you can get that stable sensation of tree trunks under your hips. Another loop would be the pelvis. And actually, it's the tailbone slightly between the legs, or down towards the floor, I should say, as the pubic bone comes slightly up. That doesn't mean we're rounding deeply in the low back because we got that hip loop. And then the shoulder loop is the shoulders go back and the low ribs come forward slightly, so we get that natural curve in the low back. So shoulders go back. Then there's the neck loop where the base of the skull lifts and the chin is down, and you've got more of a loop going that way. And your arms are hanging off the sides. Okay, so all of this, there's a lot of direction I just gave you. Didn't have a lot of time to explain it all, but nevertheless, think of this. One of my images for this is essentially like, imagine a gorilla, right? So this is my extreme version of all the loops, is the gorilla version. Big arched everywhere, big collapse everywhere in lots of places. And then we become more human as we straighten out all those parts. Straighten out the knees, straighten out the hips. They're not going straight, but they're more, vertical. And then you're hugging muscles to bone. So you're creating that postural connection from the feet all the way to the crown of the head. This is also known as mountain pose. We're staying here another breath. If you're hugging muscles on bones, that's great. Thighs hugging thigh bones, hamstrings hugging backs of legs, gluteals hugging, feet trying to squeeze the midline. All right, release that, shake it off. And we're going to do a half forward bend. Step your feet back with your hands on the back of the chair. Walk back a bit so that you have some room to extend your arms over the back of the chair. Then soften your knees and reach your hips back so your weight goes in your heels. Your arms go over the back of the chair, whatever amount. Your wrists may be on the chair or fingertips on the chair. And you're reaching long sitting bones to fingertips, parallel line to the floor if you can make it. You're looking at the floor, it's fine. Just imagine you're sort of a superhero pose from sitting bones to fingertips, and then your feet are standing on the floor, of course, but otherwise you're flying. Practicing flying, but on solid feet. Couple more breaths there. Can you extend the line? Sitting bones back, fingertips forward. Outer hips back, pinky fingers forward. Tailbone back, crown of the head forward. Belly hugging into the low back. Spread out the space in the low back by hugging the front body into the back body. Soften your knees, lift your eyes, walk back to the back of the chair, stand up, shake it off, swivel it around. Okay, we got to get down on the floor, so move your chair out of the way and come down on your back. And once you've found your way to your back, we're going to go right away to a hip stretch. So, if you're seated, you can also do this hip stretch. But those of you on your back, you're doing what's called number 4 pose or thread the needle pose. We'll cross the right ankle over the left knee first on our backs, if you're on your back, and draw the left knee up towards our chest and deliver that right ankle towards our chest with the left knee just below the right ankle, yeah? Have that right knee spread wide out of the hip. So you're trying to drive your right knee away from your shoulder as you're pulling your right ankle towards your chest. That will give you the stretch in the outer right gluteal and hip. Take slow rockings left and right to release any other areas of that right hip. Rocking slightly left, rocking slightly right to see how gravity acts on your right hip socket. Now you don't have to have your hands around that left leg. So Marvin, I'm going to say drop your left foot completely to the floor first. Drop your left foot completely to the floor. Then cross your right ankle on your left knee. Then push your right knee away from your chest first with your right hand. Yep, good. Now, from there, start to try and lift your left foot off the floor and see if your hands grab the back of the left leg, or at least, or maybe you just grab your right shin and you don't even lift your left foot off the floor. You grab your right shin and bring it up closer to your chest, and that's fine too. If you're getting a stretch already by just pushing your right hand away, right knee away, that's perfectly fine. You can stay in that shape, yeah? Otherwise, then you lift your left foot off the floor and you deliver that right ankle closer to your chest using your left knee. All right, everybody, release that. Drop your feet nice and wide on the floor and put your knees knock-kneed. Feet wide, knees knock-kneed. Swivel your shins left and right like windshield wipers. And we'll drop it off to the left for a supine twist before we do the second side of number 4 / thread the needle, whatever that is called, whatever you want to call it. And this could be a stretch in the front right thigh. As your knees are going left, you reach your right knee away from your right hip. Your arms could be out wide to the sides on the floor in a capital T as you look to your right hand. Good. Swivel your knees back to vertical. Cross your left ankle over your right knee and open your left knee out to the side. Use your left hand, if you like, to push the left knee open, and that might be giving you enough stretch. If it's not giving you quite enough potency, lift your right knee or right foot off the floor, which will help your right knee get closer to your chest and deliver your left ankle closer to your chest. In this way, get more stretch in the outer left hip, whatever you need there. if you want, or if it's you, I would experiment with at least rocking slowly left to right, as though you're kind of investigating for muscle fibers that might get better stretch with gravity in a slightly different angle on your hip sockets here. And if you find a good spot that feels particularly potent, pause in that spot. If it's in the center, it's in the center. If it's off to one side slightly, that's fine too. Stay a few more breaths in this left gluteal stretch. Uncross the legs, set your feet wide on the floor, knees go knock-kneed, arms go wide to the sides in a capital T. Swivel your shins a little back and forth like windshield wipers, and then finally end up with your knees falling right fully until you're in a supine twist, and your left knee might be reaching away from your left hip to get a stretch in the front left thigh. All right, come on back to center. Set the soles of your feet against each other. Your knees fall wide in a diamond shape. Put one hand on your belly, one on your heart, and take 5 slow breaths. Can you bring your attention back to the way, or maybe even deeper than the way it was in the very beginning when we were trying to focus just on the breath and being present? Just observe your breath. If you could put your full attention witnessing life happening in your body through breath and heartbeat right now, that would be the practice. Witnessing. When you're ready, you could use your hands to help close your knees together, or whatever you want to do to set up yourself in your resting pose. We will be there for another 90 seconds or so, maybe 2 minutes if you can tolerate it. I know I'm 3 minutes over time at this point, so we'll go until 5 minutes over time. If you gotta go, you gotta go. I understand. It's my fault for always going over time. I really could do better at that. But nevertheless, I'm going to let go of that right now. This is where we're at. If you can stay here, breathe, and give in to gravity. Imagine you're giving your thoughts even over to gravity. So your synapses firing, or just firing and then letting go, not following any particular trail of thought to solve any particular thing or make any particular list or plan for any future or assess any past. It's just letting things happen as they are, which is not easy. And it's also not what we always want to do. It's just what we're doing now. We're just practicing this particular practice. You're welcome to stay resting. wasn't a lot of time to rest. So if you want to keep resting, totally fine. If you're joining for the end of class and you want to sit up, feel free to do so. If you're joining me with the end of class, hands at the heart, bow to your heart with your eyes closed. Bring back to mind what you dedicated your practice to. Be grateful for that and grateful for all things that bring joy and love and wonder into your life. We'll chant a final Om in honor of all that. Inhale. I bow to the light in your heart. It is the same light in my heart.